Matt in Jers. We are back after one of the most scintillating days of golf, maybe ever. Some people are saying, and I add into that not just what took place at Vedanta World, trademark patent pending Mexico Open, but I was up early for a Magical Kenya Open sweat. So you put those two things together. Now, neither of them went my way, but purely from like how we consume golf, as good of a day as you could possibly dial up.
Yeah, I mean, we were on shut down the site watch if you were to have two runner-ups in one day. So thankfully, Alex Smalley didn't have a backdoor T2 because the site would have been ended if you had back-to-back runner-ups or four straight runner-ups, something like that. So yeah, you're definitely trending. Don't keep your head high. One's coming really soon. You have picks dialed on every tour. I was not up sweating the Kenya Open. I had a rough week across the board in both tours. Didn't really have much mix, but those weeks happen all the time. But it was a great I watched a ton of the Mexico Open today. I was watching that Aldi Pots sweat. I was watching that Brian Campbell sweat. So it was some of the most unserious but fun golf. And I am all the way in on the Mexico Open because this is now 2 straight years of truly unserious ball striking and unserious golf turning out to winning. So it's fun. I'm all the way in on it for 1 week a year.
Yeah, it was bleak around like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. as I was watching the Kenya Open, and it was just my guy JP John Perry, first ever. I couldn't have told you what this guy looked like before the tournament. First time ever riding the John Perry train. Just was not going his way, and I was like, he's going to finish second, so that's going to be 3 straight runners up, going back to Live last week and Mav, and then I was like, Smalley probably finds a way to finish T2, and the site would have been shut down. We talked about it ahead of time if that had occurred. So, site's good. Site's up. It lives on. A lot of people are asking, this is the question I think on everybody's mind. For Keegan, he has a conundrum now at Bethpage. Do you pair Campbell with a big hitter, a Bryson type of player, play a little Jekyll and Hyde, make him remember what it was like when he beat Aldi Pots, a bomber positional? Yep. Do you go there? Or do you lean into the positional, maybe put him with a call, and maybe Russ makes the team, and you go with them as a positional pair? Where are you leaning with who you think Keegan pairs Campbell with at Bethpage?
Yeah, I mean, I think the options are open. At a Northeast course with a ton of trees, he can bounce off, and I'm sure he will use that into his data and modeling going into the Ryder Cup. So I don't want to give a decision right now, but I think Keegan's options are open on who he's going to pair BC with, because we know with him, floodgates now. He's into the Masters. He's into some signature events. You never know. You truly never know how many wins he's going to tally off this next few months.
I noticed you went, because this was going to be an important discussion too. You went BC. That's what we're going with?
Yeah.
BC,
so
because there was a question of had he earned the Camps nickname. Obviously, we've had a variety of camps showing success of late. Rafael Campos in the fall in Bermuda picked up the victory. He had earned the Camps nickname. Before that, Jorge Campillo had won the Magical Kenya Open 2 years ago. He was Camps, but I think we keep Campos as Camps, and I agree. BC, I think, is the right nickname.
Yeah, sometimes it just came to me, so I went with it. And I mean, we could include him in there and track the low Camps market, and because I know they're adding that to DraftKings going forward. Low Camps of the week, because they just had a low Stanford 2 weeks ago, I think. So definitely we're going to be tracking that. We'll probably make a Discord channel for low camp of the week. So yeah, great win, B Camps.
Do you think, I personally don't think he's getting enough credit for on the final playoff hole. He'd already played 18, obviously 2 times in a row, played it down the left side, been in the fairway. He was just playing the angles down the right, the bank shot off of the trees. Do you think that was something he had added into when he went back to the tee? He was like, I need to hug the right side, use the bank shot tactic, because I don't think he's getting enough credit for that strategic change on the final playoff hole.
It's honestly crazy, like how close he was to blasting at OB, because you couldn't have more room on that hole, on that tee shot. Guys were just going, I mean, tracking all week, 333 yards to unknown down the left fairway or whatever fairway that was. It is a great angle to that flag today. So I don't know why guys were even flirting with that. And it reminded me of Valimaki last year. He needed an eagle to tie Knapp, and he hit it. I think he hit it OB or underneath that little fence. He had to punch out. He didn't even have a chance to go at the green. I don't even know how you bring that into play, but it all worked out, obviously. Just truly unserious performance.
If I had asked you, because I feel like if I asked you about 99% of players, both on the PGA Tour, probably the DP and Live, and I just said, hey, what is this guy's game? I think you would probably be able to give me what their style of play is on a vast majority of them. If I had asked you Ben Campbell's game and history before the week, would you have known anything about it?
I can sit up here and be like, I know what Benny Camps is. No, I've seen his name maybe once or twice on the odds board, but that is the extent of it. And then looking at his data golf profile after the round, I tweeted it earlier. Hilarious. Best finish was a T51, nothing going for him. I saw people touting his par 3 scoring. It was hilarious stuff from Campbell. But no, I did not know anything about him outside of his name on the odds board.
And I think so for anybody who either didn't watch Mexico Open or didn't look up Brian Campbell after this, the man is a positional. He would have been favorite in Kenya. Easily.
Oh, without a doubt.
he
probably knew it was Kenya week.
Yeah, we should. That's honestly would have been the most logical path to get to Brian Campbell this week, is positional crossover comp, DP World Tour crossover, Sammy Valimaki, Mexico Open, Brian Campbell. We should have been on him.
Brandon Wu on the broadcast today.
But I think the other crazy part about it was the history of this event. We talked about this on the podcast. Is Bomber Central, hit it as far as you can, figure it out from there. And you couldn't have a better example of that than Aldi Pots.
No,
Campbell is the antithesis of this event. What you think of this event? But we also talked about on the pod. I wrote about on the site that anyone can play good at this course if they're dialed with the super long irons and the short game is dialed. There's no reason why you can't play good enough. And there's been plenty of shorter hitters on the leaderboards here and in the finishing positions. And I was high on Rye and those types of guys this week who are good with their long irons and play from the fairways. But that, to me, the juxtaposition of Aldi Pots versus Brian Campbell, the guy who perfectly fits what the course should be, and this true positional guy, that makes it even crazier. It's just how different he was from what we expect the Mexico Open winner to look like.
I mean, yeah, there was a few guys this week who put up generational ball striking performances, and what Brian Campbell did with the irons this week, the long irons, was incredible stuff. Seven wood merchant. The shot he hit on 17 today was so sick. I think he didn't make the putt, but it was a tough hole. I also Mexico. I love this course so much because there's 14 holes that are 13 or 14 holes that are so stupidly easy, and that's why it gets -20. But then there's 4 holes that are so comically hard that because of the wind and the lamp that it's just so funny that they're just thrown in. I do like this week because the fields are always weak, and it's just guys that get to the top hit it anywhere, and then when the pressure comes on, they're showing them live, hitting it everywhere, and then it can so easily go wrong in a few holes. So I'm in on Vidanta. I am, and I want to go there.
Next year, if Grupo Salinas is listening to the podcast and can get boots down there at Vedanta World, we'll play the par 3 course, because they didn't talk about the lighted par 3 course at all because Tony wasn't there. So it was they missed out on that marketing opportunity to talk about the lighted par 3 course without Tony there. But I agree. That's a great take on why Mexico is such a funny sweat in the final round, is because you literally can hit it anywhere. So these guys who are not likely to win on almost any other course on tour can get into the mix, and then you get to watch them under the gun, spraying it all over the place, hitting crazy shots. But who did you think, let's go back to going into the weekend, Saturday. Aldi Pots is out front. Aldi Pots is most tipped. Everybody's on Aldi Pots. Aldi Pots is having a generational putting performance like nothing we've ever seen before. Campbell's up there. Who did you think was live fave going into the weekend and into the final round, and then on the start of the back nine? In those tiers, who did you think was
Going into the weekend, I did think Shea was going to make a better charge because he kind of was out early on Saturday. He didn't do much. So disappointing from him. I did think Jaeger was live fave. I thought Jaeger going into the weekend was going to be the man to beat
on Saturday too.
Yeah, and then he just was slow. And I had Toasty on Saturday. He was there. He was in the third to last group on Saturday, and he striped it. He was 7th off the tee, 17th on approach, 6th around the green, and lost 4 strokes putting. He was hitting the ball so well, and he always stripes it here. So I thought those 4 guys, and Toasty being my best bullet, I was hoping for him. But I would say throughout the weekend, early on Saturday, going into Saturday, I thought Jaeger was probably going to be the guy.
I thought Rye, once he started absolutely generationally striping.
Today, yeah.
I thought like once he got to the top, he was hitting it unbelievable. And he had been hitting it unbelievable all tournament. He needed to call Billy Ho.
I was going to tweet that. Yeah.
Because I was wondering if he was riding the wave of being paired with Billy Ho last week. Because if you remember, they were paired together in the opening rounds at Torrey. He didn't play great at Torrey. He was fine. Billy Ho didn't play great either. But I was wondering if that energy was carrying with him this week. He needed Billy Ho because
who was he paired with? Ben Griff today?
Today he was with Griffin and
Smalley.
That
makes sense. It
was is that as low dog of a trio of players that you can put together? Because Smalley is a disgrace. We've said before that I've said a million times when we shit on guys, we're just messing around. Like they're playing for way more money. Like they win. Like
they can handle it. They can handle it.
Like. What is wrong with this guy? Is he serious? He's generationally strapping off the tee. They'll write about this driving performance for a lifetime, and then he's bogeying every par 5 in the final round. He looked like he was intentionally doing it. I started to wonder, is this man on the take? Like, what's going on here? He wanted no part of the mix. None. Zero.
When Smalley gets into straight mode, it is insane stuff, and he had it going this week. But he's so low dog. And I bet him 200-1 in Phoenix, and he played so well. It was in the second to last group, I think, on Saturday. That didn't finish T10 because once he got into that position. And I don't know, I don't think he's off of my, Cam Young, I'm not betting, low dog. But Smalley, I think I can, at least for this season, still bet him at good numbers. Next week, if I get a 55 on him, I think it's a great course fit. And he loves Bermuda. But I really don't trust him down the stretch. So it'd have to be a good number. Last year, I bet Cam Young on 100-1 at Travelers. I'm not betting Cam Young 25-1 in an event because I just don't trust him. But the number on Smalley, I can go back.
He hits it so nice. Some of the shots he was hitting, he made birdie
flighted ones
on 8 today when everybody else was making bogeys or really scrambling. He stuffed one to 7 feet, made the putt. Then he stuffed it on the par 3 and missed. But dog to talent ratio, the shots that he can hit is in the 1% of guys who play on the PGA Tour. His driving is unbelievable. His shot shaping and flights with his irons. His short game, not his putting, he can get streaky with the putter. But on yesterday, he was getting up and down from everywhere. Saucy chips, crazy chips. And then today, he couldn't even chip the ball 5 yards forward. He looked like Aldi Pots out there. And I was like,
yeah, tough scene.
What is going on here? So we don't need to talk about Smalley. I just needed to make a statement that I'm not going to blacklist him either, because if he's 200-1 at some random event, he has the game to win. He might win by accident, but it was one of those sweats where I never, even though he had a great chance going to basically the back 9, I had zero faith in him.
I mean, he did win the Scottish Open a few years back, so we have to remember that.
You're friends with his mom. You should talk to her.
Dude, Tron tweeted about his mom today.
I saw that. He was talking. I think, but she's nice, right?
Very nice. She's a great woman. She always says hi to me. I tweeted that she might have the record for steps in a year. She walks 7 days a week with Alex side by side, all the practice rounds, all the real rounds. So yeah. But I was gonna say, I forgot what I was gonna say. So keep going.
Oh well, my question was gonna be, whose mom are you more friends with, Scotty's mom or Alex Smalley's mom?
Smalley's mom probably, but that could change.
We'll get to more Mexico here in a second because we haven't given Aldi Pots his fair due, and Isaiah Salinda. I mean, Nicolai was up there. We've got a lot to talk about from the Mexico Open. Some beautiful things took place across the board there. But first, as always, like and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube or your favorite podcast network. We have boots this week, Jers. Hometown boots. I've said before, I don't think I've actually acted upon this, which is a mistake, that I tail you no matter what at the Honda, at the Cog Keys, because it's a hometown event for you. It's worked before. Now you're getting the boots. How excited are you for this week, and what's going to be up on the site? How are you feeling going into this week?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a subscriber, if you're only a podcast listener, this is going to be a really fun month of content of boots. We are putting the pedal down. We are doing a lot this month. So yeah, I'm very excited for Honda. This is going to be a home game. I'm gonna sleep in my own bed, like all the players say. Busy week. TGL Monday, Tuesday. Boots Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a quick drive. I'm excited to get the PGA National. Obviously, there's been some changes with the infrastructure of the this course setup in terms of the stand. So I got to see what's in play, what's not in play, because there was a lot of guys who would blast it in certain areas on 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I saw a tweet about it today. So I'll get out there and see what the strategy is, if that can change, because that's a very important pivotal hole.
Strokes gained, temporary, is it TIO?
Yeah,
temporary
TIO.
Immovable obstruction. Strokes gained TIO this week is your focus.
And I remember last year heading into the Honda Classic, there was a lot of buzz about the rough and hole 10. And we turned out, not that we didn't prove anything right or wrong, but we got those answers. So I'm going to do all that this week and get the boots report up on Tuesday, Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you guys know how PGA Nash is playing. But yeah, you want to get back to Aldi Pots.
And I need a winner. Like we were talking about at the beginning, I've been seeing the board nicely. There's nothing you can do when it doesn't go your way down the stretch. Very possible that on the tour this week, I don't actually have a write-up in the card section for me. It just says tailing jurors, and my to win is the exact same as yours, because that's what the key is. At the end of the day, the key at the Honda Classic is tailing jurors. So it'd be wrong of me to go against the course preview, which is going to be listen to jurors.
And when it's Rocket Week, I might do the same for you. And when it's JDC Week, we just at Devo, we put all of Devo's links on our site, and we know how to do it. It's just
that was the most disappointing thing about the Magical Kenya Open, because John Perry was winning the entire week. He was first the entire time. Nothing would have made me happier than a winner at the Magical Kenya Open.
Mm-hmm.
And we can talk more DP later, but it was devastating to be that close to another Magical Kenya Open victory and have it not come through. So I'm going to take the South Africa Open this week extra serious to try to cancel that out. But that's all up on the site. $9.99 for the weekly, $34.99 for the monthly. As Jer said, Boots Florida is going to be a multi-episode series. Would you call it a limited series?
Yeah, I would call it that. We got some good stuff coming on the site.
Yeah, Boots Florida limited series, streaming on Netflix and all of your favorite streaming networks. We'll try to get it nominated for an Emmy for limited series. Boots Florida, starring Matt Gannett. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. We appreciate everybody who supports the site. It's been a great couple of months so far for the site, just from Sarix in general, and obviously we can't do that without the support. People listen to the podcast, people have subscribed to the site, people are active in the Discord. We appreciate all of you so much. I know I say that on every pod, but I truly feel like we don't even say it enough, because we legitimately can't do any of this stuff without your guys' support. So I really appreciate that, and we'll keep grinding, making the best content and the best site that we possibly can. But Jers, Aldi Pots was on the chart. Aldi Pots was mega popular this week. Aldi Pots, in my opinion, was luck boxing hard for a vast majority of the tournament. I'll let you start. State of the Union on Aldi Pots. What did you see from him? What did you think? He's obviously been our guy for quite some time. I think the first time I ever bet him was at the Zurich Classic. Who was he playing with at the Zurich Classic when we talked to Trevor Moment?
Oh, he was playing with.
Was it Thristy?
It was his. No, I don't know if it was two South Africans. It was a really cool. It might have been Thristy. No, he wouldn't have been there yet.
He wouldn't have been there. He did play with Thristy the first two rounds. Do you think that impacted his play?
Yeah, and I tweeted on Friday. I said nice 65 from the South African Tristan Lawrence, while Aldi shot like 58. I don't remember, but I would say Aldi Pots, great week. There's not many courses that fit his game better than this week, so it's not really a shocker that he played so well. I mean, he was most tipped for a reason, made sense. Neither of us were there because we don't mess with that. But it got bad late. It did. He felt it. That he was a 20 handicapper on the green, and it just too much. And he almost got away with it. But it didn't work.
That's the thing. I was excited to see him in the mix. We're Aldi Pot supporters. I tweeted last month that I've been starting to buy futures on Aldi Pots at St. Andrews. I feel as good about my St. Andrews futures on Aldi Pots as I could possibly feel. He's going to drive it on every green and putt it in. He doesn't need to chip. What did we see from Victor Hovland at St. Andrews? Aldi Pots is going to win St. Andrews by probably a record margin. Like, I don't know if they even need to play the tournament, because how far he drives it and how good of a putter he is. Like, the man, that was the thing of, like, you see all these tweets as he starts to play good on Friday. Everybody's like, oh, Bomber Central, like Aldi Pots, like he's the new type of player of the game. I saw somebody tweet, I think it was one of the Friday guys, said that like there's less skill required for the young players to be good now than they were before. Aldi Pots gained over 10 strokes putting and has a deft putting stroke. His short is around the greens is awful, but like the man can roll the rock. And I don't think that was getting enough, like, or people don't talk about that. They just want to talk about him, like how far he hits it. Yeah, there's lots of guys who hit it far. He hits it further than 99% of them, but he mixed this week because he putted unbelievably.
Yeah, he put the first few days was unreal putting. Like, it was every time I saw him out of position and he had a par putt or he had a birdie putt 14 feet, it was in. And like, he made everything. And having that elite driver plus elite putter build that's modern golf. Like, that is what you need to do to succeed. And he has that. He will be fine. Like, that's why I'm happy Brian Campbell won. He might never mix ever again in his entire career. His girlfriend was ecstatic. And it was like, I was like a really good moment. I'm happy it went well for them, because Aldi Pots will be there. He's a young stud. He's got infinite chances to do great things. They talked about how, like, a junior golf tournament, he won by 20 a few years ago. Like, the kid is fine. But where Brian Campbell, his life has changed. He's going to have a great year financially, and it's just a cool story. It's a cool story.
The thing we need to monitor the situation with Aldi Pots, strokes gained dog, is he's obviously not good chipping, period.
No.
But the final round of the Ned Bank on the DP, when he was winning the Ned Bank, he lost 2 strokes around the greens. Final round at Torrey, when he was in the lead, he lost 2 strokes around the greens. And today he lost 2 strokes around the greens. So the final round, when you get those more difficult pin positions, the greens maybe are a little bit firmer and the pressure's on, we've got real work to do around the greens. Like, that's just the type of thing. It's so bad that I saw people tweeting like, oh, once he figures out his around the green, like, he's going to be unbelievable and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but he's clearly miles away from being good around the greens. Like, that could take years to.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Austin Eckroat when he was coming out of college. He somewhat figured it out, but he's still a bad chipper. I think he'll be fine. He's so good elsewhere, like with the driver. Like, Austin Eckroat doesn't have that, and he has a special talent. Like, being a top driver on the PGA Tour, like a top 1 driver, you're gonna have your spots,
especially when you're a peak driver putter, because that putter. What tournaments going forward should we be on the lookout for Aldi Pots at? Like, would you? And what number do you think is a fair number on Aldi Pots, just in general? Because he's now mixed a couple of times, big numbers at courses that make sense as Aldi Pots courses. Are there any others this year that you'll be thinking about him? And in general, what do you think a fair number is on him after seeing him down the stretch today?
Napa, Rocket, Houston. You can get him in. I think I bet him in those spots. And like, depending on the fields, I would bet him in like a Rocket field at 50, 60. Sure. He was around 66 this week, opened at 100 on Monday. So there'll be numbers out there, because he's not gonna start posting good results. He won't do that because the courses aren't gonna set up well for him. But he'll be fine. I mean, even Torrey, he almost played well. Like Farmers, when the fields are weak, sure. When you have that elite driving talent on those golf courses, you can make some hay.
Isaiah Salinda.
Okay.
Isaiah Salinda, Jers. I honestly was having to root against him, because if I wasn't on him, it was going to be really, really disappointing. Confident. Did you see his interview after the round? He basically was like, yeah, I'm going to win. So no, I'm not surprised that like I mixed, and honestly, I'm disappointed that I didn't beat these guys. What are the vibes right now in the Salinda camp? I mean, we couldn't possibly be trending more up. You asked to see some made cuts from him before you were going to bump him up in the Stanford golf rankings. He made the cut. He almost won. Does this move him? I don't think he was in your current top 6 to 8 Stanford golfers of all time. Was this enough to get him in there?
Well, he was listening to the pod, so clearly that worked. And Yeah, like this was a great golf course for Salinda. I don't think the number would have gotten me on because I remember we were betting him like 700 to 1
Yeah, it's
early
like
in the season.
125 or 150, I think.
Like I'm not mad that I wasn't on him. I mean, I probably would have been mad that if he were to won that we didn't, but I wasn't like, damn, I missed Salinda at 100 to 1. We were betting him at 700 to 1 in January. So it's okay. But I'm glad he finally bursted out, got his name onto the mainstream level a little bit because this is a guy that we've been so high on for a while, dating back to Pinehurst last year. So he's gonna play well. He's a generational talent from tee to green, and he can. Dude, you see the club twirl he hit on 16 today? It was nutty stuff.
And
A
that's why
little
we
bit
talked.
egregious, but nutty stuff.
That's why we hyped him up as like a Brooks style golfer, where he just overpowers. And now we see that he's got the long iron game. Like there's no reason to jump off the Salinda train now. I'm as hyped as I was a few weeks ago when we originally talked about him. And I think the last thing to take away from this event going forward, because we don't get a lot of data early in the season on a lot of the guys who are playing these events, like we don't know much about them. Going forward, when there's long iron play events and random people are in the field, go back and look at how they played at Vedanta, because I think that's the thing that just stands out so much, because I watched a good amount of this tournament, is all the guys who gained on approach, it's all long iron mastery.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
Be on the lookout for those. And I was talking about that with Salinda because that was the first course where we've seen that tested from him, and he displayed it. But we continue on to the Florida swing. Like I said, this is your tournament. This is your course. I could talk about the keys, but that would make no sense because I'm tailing you anyway. So what are we looking for this week? What type of players? What are the keys? What's worked for you before this event? Did you notice anything different last year when the scoring was a little bit lower? Is that playing in your mind at all? Where's your head at going into boots, going into the type of players you're on the lookout for this week?
I mean, there's two ways to handicap this golf course. You're going to go with the tee to green accuracy ball strikers, or you're going to go to your local grocery store and say, hey, name me 3 Bermuda guys. They're going to say Ben Griffin. They're going to say Chris Kirk. And whoever the third one is, just bet those guys. Everyone knows Bermuda guys. When the Florida swing comes, early season history, early season form doesn't go out the table, but you can take a little bit away from it. Bermuda guys, they always play so damn well in Florida, year in, year out, whether the form is there or not. So just go in your models and find the Bermuda guys, and then driving accuracy, good iron play. You need the complete bag though around this golf course, because you're gonna have to hit long irons, you're gonna have to hit some wedges, and you're gonna have to get up and down from some tough spots. So that's probably the case for this week.
Right now, when you walk down the street and you ask people who are the most recognizable Bermuda golfers, obviously they say Chris Kirk. Obviously, they then say Ben Griffin.
Yep.
Who else have you been hearing when you ask people that question on the streets?
Well, when I used to do that when I was in high school, it was Billy Horschel, and I'm hearing it less and less now. I did hear Max McGreevy recently, but that's a deep cut for sure. There must have been some ball knowers, but it's mainly Ben Griffin. That's the one that we get, and obviously Russell Henley.
And I get, now that he's been back, people have been mentioning Berger as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Bermuda specialist down there. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I'm excited to find out from the Boots report is how the course is playing, because we saw last year. I remember I had forgotten until I was doing some research.
The El Nino.
Now. Yeah. Well, first of all, have we checked the weather? Do you know what your deal is? Are you going to be cold? Are you going to be okay? Are you good? Is everything?
Yesterday was kind of cold, but I'll be good. I think it's pretty mint for the next week. I haven't dug deep yet, but actually maybe not. I think one day's going to rain. I'm going to look.
Tuesday. Yeah, it looks like it's going to rain on Tuesday. Yeah. It looks like light winds. But last year, the Fury, after the first round, was the scoring, because we think of PGA National, we think of the Honda, we think of the Cognizant as this incredibly difficult test, single digit winning scores, -10, -12 maximum. Last year, I believe it was -17 is what Austinet got to in the final round, or obviously in the event. I think the final round was a little bit different because it was so wet after the rainstorm. But does the course playing easier, theoretically, change at all your opinion of the type of guys who you would have leaned to at the more difficult scoring, if that makes sense?
No, a lot of it had to do with hole 10 too, because that hole 10 made it like an auto birdie. And yeah, so I'm not going to take any thing into that. Like the scoring is just relative to that hole, basically. But I do want to see how the course is playing in terms of the rough conditions, because there are some spots around PGA National where if you're off in the rough, you're just kind of boned. So I'll get that information hopefully this week.
The odds are out on DraftKings. That's what we're using. We're filming this on Sunday night, so we're using the DraftKings odds board this week. I'm sure some of these prices will change. Some might get better, some might get worse. Maybe some guys will say we'll be interested if those prices do drift during the week. Right now, the favorite. Do you know who it is? Have you looked?
Shane Lowry. Yeah, I looked.
Yeah, Shane is the favorite. Do you think he's basically tied in the odds with Sungjae, Sepp, Russ. Those guys are all around 20 to 1. 18 to 1 right now is on Shane. I think they all started at 20 and then moved that way. Who do you think is the favorite this week between Lowry, Sung, Sepp, or Russ?
I already know people are going to be like, what is this odds board? This is a beautiful odds board. We're getting the top at like around 20. People are going to be like, oh, Keith Mitchell's 28 to 1. Like, okay, don't fucking bet Keith Mitchell. There's going to be so much value down the board, because especially once this starts diluting and guys jump up, guys are going to jump down, that you drifters.
Here's what happened with drifters this week for people who haven't seen it.
Brian Campbell, biggest drift from opening to close. Monday he opened around 145. I think Wednesday he closed around 200. Just consensus. Obviously changes elsewhere. Biggest drifter in the entire field, Brian Campbell. We're the only people that track this.
That also happened with Keegan at the BMW. So if you just single bulleted the biggest drifter every week and that was your only betting strategy, you'd probably be up infinity if that was the tactic. So I might start doing that, honestly. I'm just going to single bullet whoever the biggest drifter is.
Why not?
I'll
say Shane Lowry, though, to answer your question. I think he's deserving.
Do you think Shane's the deserving favorite? We'll get back to that in a second, because more importantly, the battle down the stretch between biggest drifter on the entire odds board and most tipped Aldi Pots, like that was a decisive moment for you as the anti. What would you never would change your thoughts, but would they have changed whatsoever if most tipped Aldi Pots second most?
No, most tipped wins once a year. Everyone knows that most tipped does win once a year. I can't remember off the top of the head who it was the last 2 or 3 years, but it wins once per year.
Your nap fade was almost so sick when he almost missed the cut by smashing the bunker and getting a penalty. But okay, you're saying Lowry's the favorite over.
Actually, I want to say Russell Henley. I think Russell Henley should be the favorite,
because we've got Shane, who always plays well here, obviously. Sungjae's won here. Sepp has won here, and Russ just makes sense.
One here. Guy. He's won here.
Oh, that's right. He has one here. So you're switching. You're switching to Russ as your.
Yeah, I think Russell's been like so consistent and like actually has dog. And I wouldn't say dog. There's a Ryder Cup or President's Cupper recently. I think he's supposed to be the fave. Him, you can see Sepp too, but I'm gonna go with Russell as my guy up here.
Yeah, Russ with the win, T8 in 2020, T3 in 2021.
So playing some decent golf.
I feel like, I don't know. I think
there's a case for any of them. Like there really is. That's why it's so conjoined up here.
Well, I would say Sungjae, like that's cross off for me, because Sungjae should not be the favorite of any golf tournament. So he wouldn't be in the mix for me for favorite unless he's like 6 to 1 at the Korean PGA Championship. Shane Lowry also shouldn't be the favorite of any golf tournaments.
Right.
Neither should Russ. Should not be the favorite of any golf tournaments. And honestly, Sepp shouldn't be the favorite of any golf tournament. So for me, none of these guys are the favorite. I'm crossing all these guys off as potential favorite. I would also cross off Berger at 25 to 1 as favorite for the tournament. Seems too good to be true. What's your Berger State of the Union?
Yeah, I also tweeted this week, like 35 to 1 Ben Griffin is going to be a generational most tipped player. And then not everyone, but also people said Berger. It was going to be Berger. And I wasn't thinking about Berger because I was watching Ben Griffin on the TV. And I could see this just being Berger and Griffin as like the two most popular guys of the week. Makes so much sense for sure. I think I'm out on Daniel Berger. I bet him here 18 to 1 the year he almost ended his career. It literally, truthfully, almost ended his career when he blew the 6-shot lead to Sepp. He was coming off of a Ryder Cup not that he's in bad form now, but he was consistently a top 10, 15 player in the world. and he's getting back to he's at his peak right now. Like this is Berger's peak in odds and skill since he was that golfer. So I don't know if I want to buy Daniel Berger at his peak when he hasn't done anything and hasn't really mixed in 3 years. He mixed at the Phoenix, but is he going to go back-to-back mix? I doubt it.
I'll say I'm not betting Berger at 25-1. Wouldn't be surprised if he finishes top 5. I agree with you though. Too soon.
Too.
Well, you have to ask him. If he says he's going to play good, then we're fading him. If he sandbags, then actually we're going to be on him. You just mentioned. You didn't mention him. You mentioned Keith Mitchell. We'll get to in a second. Pendy right now is listed at 25-1. He wouldn't be my favorite for the tournament either. Any interest in Pendy?
No, this is not a Pendy course in my opinion. But Pendy's good at golf. He's good at golf. But this is not a Pendy course.
I do think when you mentioned Keith Mitchell and the 28-1 thing, that was what jumped out to me. It's like, why are we doing the Keith Mitchell 28-1 thing again? There was a moment there where he had drifted up.
Past it, yeah.
I thought we were past it. I thought we were doing 50s to 70s on Keith Mitchell, and I still wasn't going to bet him. But 28-1 Keith Mitchell. Why? Like, he was one here. Okay, I get that. But why is he 20? Why are they so afraid of Keith Mitchell, Jers? What is it about Keith Mitchell that terrifies the books? Like, they wake up in the morning and they're like, can we get surveillance on Keith Mitchell? Can we like hire somebody to follow this guy around? We're worried about what he's going to do, and he tees it up almost every time. But I thought we were over it. We're not. It's back.
No, Keith Mitchell, no matter what, he is in the top 15 on the odds board in these fields. Remember the week when he was like the favorite after blowing the Sanderson and then he missed the cut? Like the week after that, I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
So those are all the guys under 30-1 right now, at least in the odds board. I think I'm good on passing on all those guys. Again, I haven't personally hit the winner on the PGA Tour yet this year, but I do feel vindicated in the down the board strategy and largely not looking at the top of the board, not chasing numbers. Like, that's continued to be true. The more you in these type of fields and these type of events, you want as many guys, I think, as you can get on the card from down the board. The 30s kick off with 2 unserious golfers and a sometimes serious golfer. Minwoo Lee, Denny McCarthy, and Davey T. Those guys are all 30-1. Minwoo, randomly, I don't totally understand why. Maybe it's because he mints like 2 irons. He always seems to play good on positional Bermuda courses. Played good here last year. Denny, we know Denny. I don't need to say anything about him. And then Davey T, who mixed for like 15 minutes at the Genesis, generational driver. Kind of, I guess, makes sense. Any interest in these guys at 30?
I mean, like, Davey T's sneaky. Like, T5 at the Shriners, T2 in Myrtle Beach. Won a birdie fest in his career. Not like on what do you want, the John Deere? Not that this is a ton of crossover, but the guys that kind of play good there can play good at the Honda. Playing some decent golf. I haven't been like Davey T. I never really touted Davey T, but I think I kind of like him over here. I mean, Denny out on makes so much sense. He probably will be popular. I feel like Davey T kind of got a little bit of forgotten about after that tough weekend at Torrey Pines.
Yeah, Davey's my guy. I love him. It was great to see him in the mix at the Genesis. I just don't trust his irons enough at this course. Like, yes, he's going to drive it great. I just need that spike upside with the irons. The next guy on the board, he's going to be a talking point. We're going to need the boots report on him for sure. I expected Spieth to be like 20-1. Honestly, I was like, that's what I was shocked to see Spieth. He's at 35-1. I don't believe he's played this event. I was also surprised by that he had not played this event before. But I'm always interested in Jordan Spieth on positional Bermuda courses. That's tended to be where he's played his best golf over the last few years. So I just thought that it's like big name Spieth. He played great in Phoenix and then was super popular. Like, people thought he was back going to Genesis. That made no sense because he sucks on POA being out west. But now we get back on the Bermuda. It's positional. This is where we like him. 35-1.
He's never played this event.
Never played the event
in his career.
Yeah, but drives it straight. Like, that's been the new thing with Jordan, is that he drives it straight. The iron play spiked in Phoenix. I think the iron play is there. I'm intrigued. I'm excited to hear what you have to say about him. And I just genuinely was shocked that he wasn't high. Like, he's really less likely to win this event than all those other guys that we just talked about. I don't think so.
No, I hear you. I do hear you. I don't know if I can get there with Jordan. I don't think he's ready yet. But the number is like if this event, the same exact field, was held at Colonial with someone asking you similar questions, Jordan Spieth would be 20 to 1, 18 to 1.
I'm intrigued to see how, like, is he popular this week? Because I think 35 to 1 basically. I don't know if I'm going to bet him or not, but I
He's
just
just
think
a few notches above Michael Kim. Just a few points.
the next two guys on the board after Jordan Spieth are Michael Kim and Max Greyserman. Actually, here's four guys at the 40s. Michael Kim, generational putter, no longer good. Max Greyserman, Luke Clanton trying to make the cut again and earn his PGA Tour card, and your boy, personal friend of the pod,
Ben On.
Any interest in those guys? Positional Bermuda's also Ben On's game.
I mean, Greyserman and Luke Clanton. Remember when they won the Wyndham this past summer? So ask you similar questions for sure. And Raya. Not really. I really don't. I tried the Clanton thing one time. I bet him in Phoenix. I think he wants to make a cut, and that's it. This is a hometown event. I mean, not hometown, but he's from South Florida. So I don't think it's going to be a little bit pressure here. I think there's a lot of pressure on him just to make this next cut. So I'm out on the 40s. Greyserman, unserious in my opinion. The iron play is not good for Ben On. It's really bad, and you need that here. So I'm out on this range, I think.
Kurt Kitayama was just basically the favorite in. Did he tee off in Mexico? Did he play?
Or did people are asking
before the tournament started? I don't remember, but he's 45 to 1 now this week. You tweeted, like you just said earlier, that Ben Griffin 35 to 1 was going to be most tipped. Ben Griffin's 45 to 1. Jers, any interest in Kurt or Ben Griffin?
Ben, it's a flowchart. The Ben Griffin flowchart would say bet him this week. Yeah, what am I going to say about Ben Griffin? He plays so well on these style of courses, and he probably will be in. Like you're going to wake up, he's going to be 3 under through 6. That's just what happens with Ben Griffin on Bermuda golf courses. I don't know if I can get there. It makes too much sense. It's too obvious. It's never that easy. But yes, from a statistical standpoint, from a golf course fit standpoint, Ben Griffin makes so much sense. Ben Griffin's playing good golf right now.
Well, there's a lot of guys in this next tier of players.
Cam Young 50 to 1.
Can't talk about him on the pod. I was actually thinking this week that this is going to be the toughest test for you to stay committed to keeping CY on the blacklist. Like, what if you see him generationally striping in the practice rounds?
I mean, he won the Valspar, so he likes this style of golf. No, I can't. I got to stick to my guns.
Oh, one thing I was also thinking, Brian Campbell now has more PGA Tour victories than Cam Young, Tommy Fleetwood, Denny McCarthy, Patrick Rogers combined.
I'll talk for a minute. Like you should just tweet that right now. That is hilarious. Combined.
I was just thinking about that. If you had told somebody that some guy named Brian Campbell was going to have more PGA Tour wins than Tommy Fleetwood or Cameron Young like 3 years ago, they would have been like, first of all, what is a Brian Campbell? And second of all, there's no way. But that's real, Jers. That's a real thing that happened.
It is hilarious. Shout out Brian Campbell. What a win.
Billy Ho's 50. That seems low. BSB Novak is 50. That seems low. Smalley's 50. That seems low. Nicolai 60. Nicolai, winning when Rasmus was the favorite would have made so much sense. I thought there was a second where Nicolai was just going to like fly to the finish and win. He was in the fairway on the 12th hole. Duck hooked one left. He was pissed. He knew that was the moment.
Them two had some hilarious scorecards and hilarious golf this week. Rasmus had like 4 or 5 water balls on Thursday and Friday and like played decent golf. Like he made so many birdies. He birdied like every hole he didn't go in the water on. But Nicolai's back. Nicolai's striping 60 to 1. Nicolai will be bad for sure. This is a course that Nicolai can just eat on because the putter was not great this week. Also BSB Novak, he's just good at golf, and I think he likes it down here. He's a Bermuda
guy. Who of these guys? I'm gonna give you 5 guys. You tell me who you are most interested and least interested in. They're all gonna be in the 60 to 80 range, positional Bermuda specialists exclusively. Seabez.
This is a great golf course for Seabass, but I can't bet him at this number.
65 to 1. Bud Cauley, Eric
Yes, in.
Cole, 80 to 1. Chris Kirk, 80 to 1. And I'll call Doug Ghim a positional Bermuda specialist because of what he's capable of doing at TPC Sawgrass. So which of those guys?
And at in Vegas too. I'm down for Doug Ghim. Chris Kirk, he's hitting the fairways, but it just nothing's really clicking. The form that he won in here was far better, but he loves this style of golf. Like, no one's gonna fault you for betting an 80 to 1 Chris Kirk. I like Bud Cauley. I like this range. I like Bud Cauley a lot too. Bud Cauley's kind of strapping right now. He's played this event well before. He kind of popped here last year to start the season when he made his comeback. He was playing well. So yeah, I like Bud Cauley. He lives here too. He lives at Apicoa in Jupiter, so home game for Bud Cauley. And then also down, I'm gonna skip to him. Adam Svensson, 100 to 1 makes sense here.
It's going to be it always is an important boots report on Lee Hodges, but Lee's 80 to 1 and he's won this event. He won the year that Berger blew it.
Really? I don't remember that.
I think he was in the mix. I think he was up there.
Was that 23?
He was T9 and 22. Yeah, that was the year.
Okay.
2022. I think he was in the final group with the year that Straka won. I think he was in the final group with Berger. I don't know why I remember that, but I'm pretty
sure.
No,
it was Shane. It was Shane. I was there. It was Shane and Berger. I'm pretty sure.
Then Hodges was near the final group. I don't know if he was in it or not, but is there a way to see what he was after the third round? Yeah, there is. Stand by. After the third round at the 2022, it was the second round. Going into the weekend, Hodges. Nope.
I remember that. He played so well. I do remember that.
Yeah. He was not in the final group, but he was mixing that week. So
right. Kirk K was in the second to last group on
Kirk K 45 to 1 after being the favorite in Mexico. Just take a note. Cooch. Oh, Brian Campbell. I know you don't do back-to-back, but would you make an exception for a talented generational golfer like Brian Campbell?
Yeah, he could be close to the card, so I will definitely monitor that situation.
But yeah, Hodges report's going to be important. All right, we're into the triple digits, which means that it's random Euro of the week time. The random Euro of the week has worked at this event because of the fact that Sepp won here before anybody thought of Sepp. He was random Euro of the week for sure back in 2022. Random Euro of the week. We've got lots of options this week in the random Euro of the week market, as we tend to do. A great week in Mexico for the random Euros as well, just overall. But we've got Jesper Svens, we've got Toasty, we've got Vic Perez, we've got Rosner, we've got all sorts of different guys in the random Euro market. Who do you have your eyes on going into boots?
Last year in this event, I bet Victor Perez at like 250 to 1, and I want to see what he finished because he finished T16 and he was in like the third to last group going into the weekend. Vic Perez shot like 6 over on the weekend in Mexico, but he was playing all right going into the weekend. Tough approach week in the last 2 weeks, but before that, he was hitting his irons really well. Vic Perez is talented, AF. I think he's my random Euro of the week, and I might go back to him at the Honda Classic, the Cognizant Classic.
Who between our golfers, as in our games, comp with them, obviously me with Bridgman, you with Meissner, who do you think finishes higher in the Bridgman versus Meissner market? Because they're both 110 to 1 this week.
I would say Meissner. I trust him more ball striking wise, more complete game, which you need around here. Bridgman, I think last year had an insane putting performance or whatever that was. It was last year. Insane putting performance. So I do like that. Also, another random Euro of the week, Matteo Manacero. This is a great golf course for him. Great golf course.
I was literally just scrolling through the names and saw Matteo and thought to myself, maybe. Ventura, do you think he can keep striping? You're out.
Well, we saw what Jake Knapp did last year, back-to-back weeks, ride that wave of good golf, because this golf course makes no sense for Jake Knapp paired with Rory over the weekend. No, I don't know.
I remember a couple years ago, too, after Neiman won the Genesis, and then he came here and he striped for like 9 holes. It looked like he was just going to win.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that.
Maybe betting Campbell first-round leader is a play this week, because the riding the hot form into the Cog has worked before.
You know who's back to striping? And it makes sense here? Rio.
It's always great when Rio gets on the broadcast, because he has that routine now where he drinks his water bottle every time
Oh,
that he hits, and this caddy like walks in with his water bottle. But yeah, this is a real course. I could see it.
yeah.
I'm pulling up the stats from Vedanta just in general to see who was striping with the irons, who may be of note this week. And a guy who would be a positional Bermuda specialist has won at Bay Hill. Francesco Molinari, jersey. He might be random year of the week. Is he playing this week?
I don't know. Let's look.
350 to 1 on Molinari. He was generationally striping his irons.
Dude, when he plays, he's like around the lead on the Friday. Like every time. I feel like he doesn't play much, but he's like on the here's Molinari 4 back on late Friday afternoon. He's like, all right, like you have no chance, but like you're there.
Yeah, Rio gained
1,001.
5.2. Who's 1,001? David
Brendan
Skins?
Todd. Brendan Todd.
Brendan Todd's legitimately like his career might be in jeopardy. Like we might be staring down career in jeopardy situation with Brendan Todd.
Damn, but like, yeah, man, the ball striking and he's losing he's lost in accuracy in 4 straight starts. That might be the first time in his entire career that's happened.
No, it's like concerning stuff with Todd's game.
Well, did he make the Tour Championship last year?
He made
the playoffs though.
Yeah. So, I mean, he had a couple events where he popped last year, but yeah.
Valspar, he played well.
It's the opposite of the all green Xander screen right now for Brendan Todd. It is a red, a sea of red. It is not.
If I see Brendan Todd hitting fairways, I will bet him at 1,001.
Would it be a similar bet to Davis Riley? Davis Riley was in the mix momentarily at Vedanta.
Should have held on. He was was out this week like 200.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Who else is down here? Who else? Just anybody down the board, random long shots that you're excited to go see and see if they're striping.
Ben Coles.
Ben Coles.
Yeah,
I think he made the cut off of fast
greens. He stripes so hard.
What? Jackson Suber. He did not play good in Mexico, but I'll never give up on Suber. He's a generational striper. He's 160 to 1. Chandy Phils, positional Bermuda specialist.
Yeah, almost won Valspar.
Who finishes higher, or actually, who's more likely to make a hole-in-one this week between Sam Ryder and Mark Hubbard, and who finishes higher?
Ooh, Sam Ryder for sure. He's a Florida guy. He went to Stetson up in the Daytona area. Won the Players last year. Obviously, set the record in birdies. This is a Sam Ryder course for sure.
Who finishes higher?
That was the greatest bet I ever made.
That was a great bet. And then we saw him practicing his drops, famously at Valhalla. Who finishes higher between Justin Lauer, Grayson Sigg, and Andy Putz? You were on Andy Putz in Mexico. That was as close to betting Brian Campbell as I think you could get. You truly went against Andy Putz, but this should be a better course for him. So Sigg, Putnam, or Lauer, who finishes higher?
Sigg. This is a Sigg course.
I was just noticing Sigg because Sigg has been, I think he was in the 8K range at Mexico in DraftKings, and I just noticed he's
17 this week.
He's 120 to 1 right now. And I don't think he has any chance of winning. I'm just saying Sigg right now is way longer odds than he just was in Mexico, and this course should be way better for him than Mexico.
There's weeks of the season where Sigg is just like sneaky popular, like for no reason. And not that I'm saying this is going to be one of them, but Sigg, I can see him playing well. Like he's a Georgia guy. He hit it really well this week, so I'm down.
Ricky, any hope for Ricky this week?
I remember betting Ricky here like when he was so bad, at like 200 to 1 odds 2 years ago. But I just don't think I could do it. I really don't.
Want to know who I saw briefly in Mexico? Also generational striper. Also won this tournament before as a Monday qualifier. Ryan Gerard. He'll be in my DraftKings lineups.
Yep,
he'll be popular, but this is a Gerard course for sure. When you mention Bermuda specialist golfers, people always mention the fact that Ben Griffin went to college with him. And so because of that, you can do the crossover comp between Gerard and Ben Griffin.
Yeah. And you know who else is an absolute fucking Bermuda specialist who I bet here? What is his name? The guy who he almost won in the at the Zurich. He was a fat Englishman.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Ben Taylor.
Benny T. He was an OG BSB. An OG BSB.
He really
Taylor.
Was.
Yes.
There's some guys we're gonna need to get the boots report, but there's a world where I start if I don't tail you blindly, I just start my card at like 300 to 1. You give me like if you just give me all of these guys, I like my chances of one of them getting in the mix. If you give me all of these guys. Norlander, Rakuya Hashino, Zach Johnson, Willie G, Ben Coles, Phillips, if he gets into the field, which is a disgrace at the moment. Tiger Woods needs to take a stand and get Carl into the field. Chad Ramey, Danny Willett, Francesco Molinari, Griot. You could give me all these guys over 300, and someone's getting into the mix. Valimaki, Higgs, Lipsky.
Has Griot stopped practicing golf? I wouldn't be surprised.
Is dictionary definition of unserious.
Yeah, I think he's like, all right, I'm done. Like I got my win a few years ago. Like I don't feel like practicing anymore. Because the level of unstriping he has is like concerning.
I love when he's in featured group because you know you're gonna get something. Like he missed. I remember I was watching this week and he missed like a 3-footer, and the way he reacted was so good. So that was great. Tim Viting is in the field. Timmy needs to step his game up. What's the after getting some guys into the mix? Do we need to make any changes to the bottom of the Viking Cup rankings? Was there any notable changes?
I'm gonna run the numbers on tomorrow because Christopher, he saw the rankings come out Wednesday and he wants to definitely take a stand. But we had a Viking pairing on Saturday. It was Christopher, it was Nicolai, and it was
Vinny Norms, I think.
Vinny Norms, Eject City over the weekend. By the way, had him started off great. So
to round that up, obviously we got boots. You're going to base this mainly on what you're seeing with your eyes out there. There's also a strokes gained this week, Jers. If you're at the course, you may actually even be able to pull up the strokes gained on your phone while you're at the course. And
do we have prior data on this course?
Don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they've ever played this course in a tournament. To summarize, the players you're most looking forward to going and seeing at any level of the board, but just guys right now who are in your mind as potential early leads.
I would say I don't know if I'm going to go to the top of the board, but I could see myself getting a Russ. Like I've never bet him here, I don't think, but I always thought this was a great spot for Russ. So TBD at top of the board, but then like I said, that middle range, like Nicolai, Novak, that range, I do like Bud Cauley, the 60s, the 70s. I do think I can live in that range. So TBD up top, but I like the middle 60, 70 range for sure.
I need eyes on Ryan Fox as well. After he made a hole-in-one at TPC Sawgrass, which positional Bermuda comp, intrigued with Fox in the triple digits. Shank. Oh, Hoge. Hoge's 110 to 1. Cheers.
Whoa. How do we miss that?
Hold on a second.
I think he has horrendous course history, but this is
he has played here 6 times, 4 missed cuts, but he was T28 last year and he striped. He just can't putt on the Bermuda, but he won the Players. Remember the delayed year when he shot the course record?
Hoge was 35 to 1 last year in this event. And definitely a better field.
Purely. I don't know how I missed him at first, but purely on like his number is just not the same as what it normally is.
Should you bet that right now?
I'd be shocked if he'll probably go down to like 70 to 80 to 1 at least.
Should we bet that right now?
I mean, we've definitely placed worse bets because when we want generational iron play, where else would we possibly be looking?
No, I mean, Hoge was so popular here last year, too. I remember that.
That's actually insane. He shot 79 in the final round at Torrey, but that's legitimately meaningless.
He was been playing fine this start of the year. He was so popular at some events this year. Like maybe the Amex, he was
yeah, he did shoot 78 in the first round at Waste. So he has had some, but he's also been first round leader, I think, twice. So it's volatile right now for Tom.
Oh yeah, he won Kapalua.
110 to 1. That's crazy. So so we'll end it there on the Cog. Tom Hoge 110 to 1. Keep your eyes on that. Keep your eyes on the boots report from Jers this week. Vincent's came so close. He had so many guys in the mix. He had Rye. I thought he was golden there for a second. He also had BG. Our one and done picks were generational this week too.
They were. I did notice that.
You had
you had Rye, right?
I had Yags. I had Rye. And Vincent had Nicolai. So quality week on the one and done. I needed it too because I've been up to a slow start on the one and done. Fronters on the DP. South African Open this week. The winner, the guy who beat me in Kenya, was South African. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because it's tough. The mix was him, Perry, and then Germishays, but that's not how you say it. Dion was the other guy mixing. The way that the British announcers, because that was the first time I've woken up and done a DP sweat in a long time.
They're fun.
It's so good. It's so good. The announcers, the way they talk, but their pronunciation of the South African names was impressive. And I was thinking about it this morning when I was watching. I think you could give me names from like any country, and I would get like my pronunciation would be in the ballpark. It wouldn't be great.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be. South African might be the most difficult that exists. It doesn't sound anything like how it looks.
No, yeah, and the way EVR was pronouncing Potts' first name was pretty good. It was. I'm not going to try to do it, but it was like, okay, yeah, these guys are RSA for sure. And I forget what their it's called Afrikaans. That's what they speak, right? And it's Dutch derived. I've learned.
Because I'm just going to call him Jock. The guy who won. I was waiting for this guy to do classic. He had never won on the DP. I was just waiting. Because Perry was generationally striping, maybe the worst putting performance in the history of the DP World Tour. This guy, Jers, he was 6 feet on legitimately every hole, and just it got to the point where when he was putting, I was just like, he's not going to make it. He will miss.
Yeah.
But because he was playing so steady and so far ahead of everybody else, I was like, we just need to wait for the DP moment to happen where this guy ejects, and he was doing classic DP. Fist pumping everything, like just pacing around. He looked so nervous, and he kept hitting it perfect every single time. I don't think I've actually seen something like it on the DP where some random guy who's never won, he was flawless. He played perfectly.
He's a young stud, right? Is that he's an up and comer?
No, he's 32. He's
Perry? John Perry?
No, I'm talking about Jock, the guy who won.
But is Perry young, right?
Perry's not young either. He's just had a Matt McCarty recent run. But Jock was.
Oh, okay.
It was tough scenes. Jock was just, he wouldn't mess up.
Yeah, we couldn't have two South African winners going into the South African Open. That would have been way too much SA in the world.
I have no idea who's playing in the South African Open. We don't have the odds. But the key to betting any event in South Africa is to bet the South Africans.
They take so much pride in it.
There's two like national rules on the DP flowcharts. Is tournament in South Africa? Yes, bet the South Africans. Is the tournament not in South Africa? No. Okay, anybody else is fair game. Except when you get the no on is the tournament in South Africa, it goes down to is the tournament in Spain? And if the tournament's in Spain and it's yes, then you bet the Spaniards. But if it's no and in Spain, then you can bet whoever you want. And so I think if you just do an all South African card, I don't know who's playing. Again, I don't know. Is like Louis going to be there? Is Burmy going to be there?
I think Grace is going to be there. Burmy's defending here, but a different course though. Different course.
Yeah, they switched the courses around too, so we're gonna have to dig in on what's going on the course front too.
What Ernie Els won here twice. One of them was at 31 under, and the other one was at 15. So I think it could be a monitor the weather situation.
It could also be a monitor if you are going to add one non-South African to the card. Pablo always fucks in South Africa. That's something I remember when I think of Pablo too. Let's watch out for him in South Africa. LPGA extended wrists. The Asian swing continues on. He texted me. This is a true story. He texted me Monday morning when he was working on the report and said if we can find a 30 on Angel Yin single bullet. She won the tournament apparently, but she wasn't available at 30-1. So extended C in the board. I'm excited for
deep there.
They did take it deep. She had like a 5-shot lead and then shot 7 under, but only won by 1.
Yeah. That's insane.
So the LPGA will continue on. I feel like we're close there.
I've been loving the coverage. So shout out Russ. I've been actually tuning in. The Asian swing came on at 10 p.m. I was watching it all weekend. So it was honestly, they showed a ton of shots. I did like it.
No, that's the thing. Like having the context of what's happening in the event is so useful because now I'm checking the LPGA scores every week. I'm saying I'm only betting like one person or whatever because I still don't know enough to like feel confident in doing any bets. But just understanding who the players are, what their skill sets are, like what they're good at, what they're bad at,
Yeah.
It gives you something when you flip on the TV when you're getting home from the bars and the overnight LPGA is on. Shout out Russ. Shout out Russ for putting that together. Anything else? Anything else we got going on? Anything else we need to be keeping tabs of as we enter cognizant season?
Just one more day until Live Hong Kong, because another day, another sleep, and we're closer. I think it's next week or 2 weeks. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think it's I think in
it's API week, I think.
Yeah, API week, we're gonna have API, Live, and DP triple.
And Puerto Rico Open. And it's my birthday. That's going to be electricity. Get over to the site.
Get over to the site. That's a good way to close things off. Jersey.
And it's Kohler's birthday. What a week.
2 weeks from today. Pod will be generational. You'll be there. You'll be letting us know what's happening in the Discord up on the site this week. Thank you, sir.